ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, beginning from text number 17. Lord Brahma is continuing to answer the questions raised by Sri Narada, and he said that he is not the ultimate controller of the universe, but it is Lord Narayana who is established all over the Vedas, and everybody has emanated from him, all the planets and the demigods who are controlling them, and the sacrifice are meant for him, and he is the ultimate destination. So he says that he is functioning under the guidance of the Lord, because it is he who has inspired him. And in this particular verse, he makes it very clear. Tasyapi drashturishasya kutasthasya khilatmana srijjam srijami srishtoham iksha eva bhichodita. Says that I create being inspired by him. And how does he inspire? He says ikshaya eva, just by looking. And I am creating being inspired by him, but I am created by him, srishtoham. And then I am creating, which is actually to be created by him. These are the three words he is using: srijyam, srijami, and shrishta. So he says that he is created by the Lord, and he is creating, and what he is creating is actually created by the Lord. So he is like an instrument. In the language of Nyaya, they have a word called vyapar. When something is a cause, the special cause, to create some object, then the object which is created and the cause which is creating it, in between, there is some intermediate action. And that is called vyapar, which literally means action or business or mediation. So Brahma says that he is like a middle person, because he is first created by the Lord and then he is creating. So what is being created by Brahma is actually the creation of the Lord himself. So like you may make chapatis and you use some roller to roll it, and then you put it on the fire and the chapati comes out. So you are the cause in making the chapati, but in between there is a middle action, the rolling which is going on with the rod, and then putting it on the plate. So the end product which is created by putting it on the plate, the chapati, that is actually created by you. Of course, here you are physically also engaged. But the rod, the roller which is being used, that is called intermediate thing, the activity of that. So like that, Brahma is an intermediate person. Lord is inspiring him just as you inspire with your energy the roller, functions by your energy. And then it does the action. But no one says that roller has made the chapati. You say you made it. So similarly, Brahma is an intermediate person. Of course, he is a sentient being. And he is not saying that he is actually the creator. Or you can ask someone to do an activity on your behalf. Then that person is doing it. But it is considered that you are the ultimate cause behind it. So he is inspired by the Lord, and this inspiration comes not by giving any lecture or anything like that. Like you try to inspire somebody, you have to preach, and the other person may feel inspired or may not feel. So he feels inspired simply by the glance of the Lord. And then he creates. So this is how Lord, he creates, and at the same time he does not himself create physically. It is like he is the supreme person, supreme controller, ultimate cause, and yet he does not perform the activity himself. And in that sense, he says that he is creating, Srijami. Because Brahma is a person who cannot say that he is not creating. So he says that I create. But he also says that what is being created is actually the creation of the Lord. Therefore he uses the word Srijya. So this is a very complex situation. Because we also do activities and we say that we did it or I did it. But if we analyze, it is not only that we do it, we are doing it being empowered by the Lord. Everybody is empowered by the Lord, otherwise we cannot function. So philosophy actually means to make us understand this thing and be conscious of it. That is the only difference. That those who are atheistic or who are not favorable to the Lord, they take credit for everything themselves. And those who are devotees, they are conscious. Even if they say that they have done something, still they are conscious that they are not the only cause behind it. There is ultimately Lord who is supplying all the ingredients and the energy and the atmosphere and the platform to act. So this is the point which has to be understood. Whether it is said allegorically that Maya does not come in front and she is bewildering the living entity. So on the backside. So backside of the Lord means that they are not acknowledging Lord's existence. And therefore it was said that Vikathante mamahamiti durdhiya. People who are bewildered by Maya, they say, I am the doer, or I am the enjoyer, or I possess this. So a devotee also says all these things, but simultaneously he is conscious of the ultimate principle. This is the only difference. And most of the philosophy is only to teach this much. This is the meaning of becoming antarmukhi, or turning your face inwards or towards the Lord. Otherwise everybody is a bahirmukha. Means their faces are turned away from the Lord. Now the question which can be raised here is that why does Lord create? You perform an activity because you want something. You want to achieve something for yourself. Or you perform an activity for the sake of others. So either he is creating it for his own sake, or he is creating it for the sake of the living beings. So in both cases there is a problem, philosophically speaking. That if he is creating it for himself, then he is not perfect. He must lack something in himself. And he is trying to fulfill it by creating, by doing something. Like you do things because you want something. Some pleasure, some happiness. Or for your own survival you do certain things. You build a house, create or maintain. So Lord is supposed to be perfect, Poonam, and Aptakam. He's achieved all his desires, and achieved here does not mean that once upon a time he did not have his desires fulfilled, but he is always like that. So then what is the need for him to create? You don't do anything from which you don't get something for yourself or for somebody else. So then if you say that he does creation for others, the jivas, then the question comes that he must be biased, because he creates in such a way that somebody is healthy, somebody is sick, somebody is rich, somebody is poor. All these varieties, discrepancies. So, but God, why should he be biased? Because if he is equal to everybody, then he should give equal opportunity for all. But it is not like that. Because he creates, and even in the beginning he creates, and the first person is Brahma. He gives him knowledge of the Vedas and gives him certain amount of power, and after that there are many people who are created, they are not equally powerful like Brahma. So he should have made everybody as Brahma. And there was no problem. But it is not so. Brahma lives a long life, others die. They are all under the control of Brahma and Shiva and other people. So there are so many grades of creation. So why he has to do that? If he has nothing to achieve from anything, and he is perfect, all his desires are accomplished. So what is the reason then for it? Therefore, impersonalists have the best philosophy that actually in Brahman there is no creation, because he is neutral. He has no qualities. There is no need for him to do anything, and all this is just an illusion. Really speaking, there is no happiness, there is no distress, and you are not what you think, and all around you, whatever you see, really does not exist. So there is no variety, there are no gradations, there is no distinctions. It's all one uniform, absolute reality existing everywhere. Because if you try to make it any other way, then it has the defect of biasness or incompleteness. So why does he create? This is the question. So who will answer this question? In Sanskrit, they call such questions as yaksha prashna, the question of the yaksha. Because yaksha, he asked 100 questions to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Very difficult ones. So what is the need for creating? And then so much disturbance, and people are suffering, and then he has to come and preach, and then he has to come and kill the demons, all these things. Why have all this big hassle? Jara, what do you think? You are a philosopher. Rohini Nandan.
For his Leela.
But what is this Leela that everybody has to suffer in?
There is also karma.
There is no karma for him. So you think about this question and let me know the answer. Why he is creating like this. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he comments on this verse, Tarhi tvam kim karoshi iti ataha. In the previous verses, Brahma, he said that it is Lord Narayana who is the cause behind the Vedas, and he is the source of everything, he is the ultimate goal, and I am under his control. So Narada asked, then what do you do? Because we also see you are a big person, have a big post, so what are you doing? So he says, Tasya srijamapi tena srishtoham srijami. That which is to be created by him, I create that after being created by him. He's speaking some kind of a riddle. He is not denying that he does not create. He is also not denying that Lord does not create, because this word srijyam is an interesting word. It can mean that which is created by the Lord, srijya, or that which is meant to be created by him, or that which deserves to be created by him. Different ways. So what he is saying is that he is not independent in creating. So he creates, at the same time he is not the ultimate creator. Therefore he says, Tasya srijyamapi tena srishtoham srijami. That which is created by him, or which is to be created by him, I create, being created by him. Kim swechaya, do you do it by your own will? So he says, nahi nahi. People talk about free will. So is Brahma creating by free will? Because Brahma, if there is free will, Brahma is the first person who must have it. If anybody has it, he must have it. So Brahma says, no, I don't have. Because the question is asked, Kim swechaya? Are you doing it by your free will? So Brahma says, nahi, nahi, twice. He says, no, no, immediately he denies. He was immediately scared. What are you saying? That I do it by my free will. He says, no, no. Ikshaya tasya agyayaiva ityartha. Says, I do it by his order. So, two types of agents or workers. One who act independently, and one those who act under another's order. So one is called Swatantra Karta, independent. Karta Swatantra iti prokta, hetu karta prayojaka. So one is Prayojak Karta and Swatantra Karta and Prayojya Karta. One is independent doer who does by himself, he is not under anybody's authority. That is only God. And then there is Prayojak Karta who is making others do things. He is not doing it himself. So that is also Krishna. And then Prayojya Karta, person who performs action being implored by another one. So Brahma says that I am working under his direction. I am not independent. Drashturiti says the Lord, he is the drashta. So interesting thing about God is that he creates, but he does not create by his own body. Means as we function with our body, our senses, and then do something, he does not do that. He only does it by looking. So if he just looks at Brahma, then Brahma becomes inspired. Agya is not necessarily that he has to tell Brahma that he creates. He just looks and Brahma gets the inspiration within. So therefore he calls him as Drashta. Tachapi mam tasya sakshitve ishwaratve kutasthatve sarva antaryamitve satyeva nanyatha. Otherwise, usually whenever anyone does some action, some act of creation, then he has to physically become involved in it. And there are certain changes which happen in him. He may feel exhausted, or he may feel tired after some time, sleepy, or he gets energy to do more work after working for some time. So Lord is not like that. He says that He is, number one, He is only a witness, and therefore He does not become touched by matter. If you have to create, if you have to cook, you have to touch those things. So He is the creator, yet He does not come in contact with matter. So it's very interesting, like a magnet. So magnet can make the movement in an iron piece without contacting it. So Lord also makes this creation, but He does not come in contact with it, just by His looking. And yet He is the controller, and He is Kutastha. Kutastha means that He does not undergo any change. Usually any cause which is involved in creating something undergoes some change, either physical or chemical, it has to utilize its energy or change its position or become part of that object if it is the material cause, the matter which is used to make something. So Lord is both, He is the material cause, He is also the sentient or efficient cause. And yet He does not come in contact with the matter. This is the interesting thing about Him. And this is something which is beyond logic. And if we try to understand the Lord by use of our logic, then we will always fail, because He is a different type of agent, He is a different type of actor. So tachapi mama tasya sakshitve ishwaratve kutasthatve sarvantaryamitve satyeva. So Brahma says that I perform activities, but He is my Sakshi, He is the witness. Means whatever Brahma does is known to Him. There is nothing that He does and Lord does not know. And Ishwaratva, and He is the controller. Lord keeps the complete control, and yet He does not come in contact with it. And Kutastha, and He does not undergo any change. And Sarva Antaryamitve, and He remains within. It is also not that He is just controlling from outside. Usually you control things, you are outside that machine or object. And even if you sit inside, you may sit inside a car and you control car, but you are not sitting inside an engine which is running, or inside the tires which move. So Lord is inside everything, including Brahma. So He is Sarva Antaryami, not only Brahma is Antaryami, immanent inside, but He is in everything. And He remains outside, yet He does not undergo change, and He remains witness to everything. And this is how He creates through Brahma. Swasya jivatvam tasya cha ishwaratvam ganjitam. So by this Brahma has implied that He Himself is a jiva, living being, individual soul, and Lord, He is the super soul, He is the master. So this way He has removed, if there was any doubt about His being the ultimate Lord, which Brahma has said, that Naham Veda Param Hi Asmin Aparam Na Samam Vibho Nama Rupa Gunair Bhagyam Sada Sat Kinchit Anyata. That I don't see anything beyond you. So He has now completely refuted this. Tathacha Shrutaya, and similarly there are statements from the Vedas. Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuteshu Gudha Sarva Vyapi Sarva Bhutantaratma Sarva Adhyaksha Sarva Bhutadhivasya Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunasya Iti Esha Bhutadhipati Resha Lokeshwaro Lokpala iti. So he says, this statement from the Veda says that Eko Deva, there is only one Lord, divine person. Sarva Bhuteshu Buddha, he is hidden in everything, every being. Sarvyapi, and he envelops everything, he is everywhere. Sarva Bhuta Antaratma, he is also the inner soul of everything. Sarva Adhyaksha, and he is the supervisor, everything happens under his guidance. Sarva Bhut Adhivasa, he resides in every living being. Sakshi, he is the witness. Cheta, he is conscious, knower, Kevala, and he is pure, and he is the only one, and Nirguna, and he is transcendental. So this is what is being said in the Shruti, and also Brahma is implying the same thing. Esha Bhutadhipati Resha Lokeshwara Lokpalaki. Another statement that he is the master of all the living beings, of all the planets, and he is the protector of all the planets. Brahmadi Pipilika Paryanta Sarva Prani Buddhishu Avishishtaya Upalabhyaman. Sarva Prani Buddhistho Yada Tada Kutastha iti uchyate. So he says that he exists in everybody, starting from Brahma to an ant. And the intellect of every being is controlled by him. Sarva Prani Buddhisu Avishishtaya, without any discrimination, he is there. And then he quotes another statement, Sarva Prani Buddhistho Yada Tada Kutastha iti uchyate. And he is called Kutastha, which does not go, does not change ever. Then in the next verse he explains how the creation occurs. It says Sattvam Rajastamaiti Nirgunasya Gunastraya Sthiti Sarga Nirodheshu Grihita Maya Vibhu. So this is another very important principle of Vedic philosophy. These are some basic things you will find everywhere. And this principle is the principle of these three gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So this is one very important principle. And these three things, these three parts of Maya, they have three functions: creation, then stability, and destruction. So creation is done by Rajas. Whenever you see anything being created anywhere, any movement, any function, then it happens by Rajas. That is the purpose of Rajas. And Sattva is that which balances things, which maintains, brings things into steady state. And then there is Tamas, which destroys, disintegrates. These three things exist naturally in matter. Therefore, if you see, then naturally certain things start growing. Even if you buy some potatoes and you put them somewhere, then after some time they will rot. So that disintegration is going on. But then some creation also happens, something else will grow out of it. So these things exist in nature naturally. Creation, destruction, and in between maintenance, it exists. Even the potato struggles to exist for some time. Therefore, if you peel the potato and keep it, after some time, when you peel it, it becomes yellowish in color and it's soft. But if you keep it for a few hours, then it becomes hard from outside and it changes its color, becomes blackish. This is because it wants to sustain itself, maintain. then it's like another peel forms on it. If you have to cook after 2 days, then you have to peel it again. So this is just nature functions. In modern science, you may try to explain it in different ways, that the water evaporates and then some chemical reaction occurs and something changes into another thing. But this basically is the principle of survival. That thing wants to survive. If you even drop water on the floor, then it holds itself. There is tension. So they call it surface tension. It's not that it just spreads immediately. There may be a slope on the floor and it will flow, but it tries to hold on to itself. So this is the principle of maintenance. And then it will evaporate and get lost, destruction, then it will come out somewhere, creation again. So everything is going into this principle. And this exists all over the world, in the whole universe and in the small things also. In nations, in families, in individuals, everywhere this can be seen in one's personal life. So he says, Sattva Rajas Tama iti Nirgunasya Gunastara. These three gunas, they are owned by the Lord who is Nirguna. He has them, but he does not have them. So it's just like you have money, but you don't have money. Because money is not inside you. It is in the bank somewhere. You don't know how it is kept, where it is. You only have a piece of paper which says that your account is so many $1,000 or whatever. So although you own it, but you are not having it. So therefore Lord, He says that He is Nirguna. Nirgunasya Gunastra. He has three gunas, yet He is Nirguna. He is without gunas. And the purpose of these three things is Sthiti Sarga Nirodheshu Grihita Mayaya Vibho. And by the Maya of the Lord, they are accepted for the purpose of maintenance, creation and destruction. So Brahma, he performs these three things by these three modes of Maya. Our Lord is performing ultimately, because it is called Vibho Maya. That by the Maya of the Lord, these three things are performed by the three modes. So this is the question he has asked about this universe, that how is it created, where does it exist, how does it get dissolved. So it is answered that it is happening by the three modes of nature, these three gunas. Nanu kutoyam jiveshwar vibhago yatastvam prerya sa preraka syat iti apekshayam jiveshwar vibhag hetumah sattvam iti trivi. So he says that how is that there is division of Jiva and Ishvara? That you are the inspirer, you are the inspired and he is the inspirer. So then he says that the cause here is this three modes. That Lord is free from these three gunas and we are under the influence of three gunas. So he is the controller, he is the master, he is the inspirer, and we are the inspired and we go through the changes. Sattvadi gun rahitasya api trayo guna bhavanti. That although he is free from sattva rajas tamas, yet he has these three gunas. Kena prakarena iti apekshayame vibhor maya. So how does it happen? This is by Lord's Maya. So Maya is that inconceivable power of the Lord. That he has these three modes, yet he is not influenced by them. Usually if you possess anything, you also become influenced by that. Even if you wear a dress, you become influenced by that in some way. Whatever you own, you become influenced by it. There is something which happens inside you by possessing things. But Lord, He remains completely free from any such influence. Therefore He is called Nirguna. And this is by the help of His Maya that He functions through these modes or makes them function. Sthiti adi artham grihita iti tat shakti gunatvena tad gunatvam iti artham. And it is these teen gunas, they are functioning by the power of the Lord. In this material world, these modes, this Maya, and whatever the function these gunas are performing, this is all happening by the power of the Lord. Because He glances onto this nature, then these modes start acting. If He does not glance, then these modes are inert. They don't function. So it is something like a catalyst. When you perform a chemical reaction, the reaction starts only when you put the catalyst. But the catalyst does not undergo any transformation, any change. Yet without the catalyst, the reaction will not happen. Although everything is available, all the ingredients are there and they are mixed, but unless you will put catalyst in it, it won't function. So Lord, He energizes everything. Tamagun cannot destroy, Satugun cannot maintain, and Rajas cannot create unless Lord puts its energy into it. So therefore, although this is called external energy, but whatever is happening in this external energy is also by the power of internal energy. Without that, it will not function. So that is the meaning that Tat Shakti Gunatvena Tad Gunatvam. It is by the power of Lord's internal potency that these gunas, these things are happening. Otherwise, in this unmanifest state of Prakriti, the modes, they remain completely inactive. They don't function at all. It's only when Lord looks at them, He desires, then there is a movement in them. And after that, everything is programmed. Then the modes know what has to happen. Then they start functioning. It's like a machine that you turn the switch on, then the machine functions the way it has been designed. But unless you turn the switch on, then everything may be there, nothing will happen. So Lord is that switch. The energy comes from Him. Tatra maya nityameva tadgun rupatve api grihita iti prayogo nitya narvigrahatve api krishnasya tasya ichchaya atvapusa iti vat prakrit lokoktya anukaranage. Now another question can be raised here is that, is it that sometimes Lord does not have this Maya, because He says that Lord accepts Maya. So does it mean that sometimes the Maya is not with Him, then it becomes independent? Sometimes He accepts it, sometimes does not accept. So He says that is not true. It is just a way of saying. Like Lord, we say that Lord has accepted human form. So, avajananti mam mudha manusam tanum ashrita. That when I come in my human form, then foolish people, they deride me. So does it mean that sometimes he does not have a human form? So it's not, he's always having human form, he's eternal, his body is eternal. So the Maya is always with him, he is always the master of Maya, it's always under his control. But it is spoken like this, to explain when the creation starts, then we say he is accepted Maya for the sake of creation. But before that also it belongs to him. So then there is no fault in it. It says Prakrit Lokoktya Anukaran. It is spoken as we speak normally. In our day-to-day dealings we say that we accept this, we reject this. So similarly it is spoken about the Lord. So that is the end of his comment. I will stop here.